Hi, I am here. It's Wednesday, and I have managed to tie down one of the busiest men around at the moment because you are super busy at the moment. So we've got Clayton Thomas from the Roots brand again to talk some more health and wellness with us. How are you doing, Clayton?
You know what? We're getting ready for our fireside chat. I'm jealous that you got the stove going in the background, and it's a beautiful, busy time. We get into the holidays, and we've got Thanksgiving coming next week in the United States. Who knew that Thanksgiving, the end of November, was going to be here in a week? I mean,
Oh,
serious. But yeah, it's a fun time because we get into the spirit of giving for the holidays. So it's good times. And just like you've seen the outcomes, I think the outcomes that we're seeing are leading to people beginning to realize that what we're doing is really, really legit and they should probably participate. So
yeah. I mean, as you know, I've got the reason I've been tying you down when you've got so many people that want to speak to you is because I'm so blown away with the results that my clients and sort of my own family are getting with the products. And today I really wanted to speak to you about something that has a huge impact for both humans and animals alike. And the root causes are very much the same for both of them. And this is skin issues, which can come in so many different shapes and forms, from very mild to just not looking like you're thriving to really, really significant ones. And I know you've had some amazing results with some of your case studies with your
yeah,
products, haven't you?
I think it's the our skin is such a phenomenal area to focus on, right? Because it's the one thing that we always want to look amazing, whether it's because of ego or it is our primary expression of our health. But most people do it so improperly, right? And they're using different chemicals, they're using different pollutants, and there's a little specific topic we can get into that I'll drag you into that'll be very, very important for people to understand in this environment. But the your skin, whether it's a condition perspective, if it's just having clear skin, but even more importantly, and I think more valuable for everybody that's watching this and for our community, is how baby skin is so soft and so amazing, and we talk about, oh, I want baby soft skin. You can do that, but you don't do it topically. You can do some things topically, but it's actually your skin health comes from the inside out. Your skin, the largest organ that we have by surface area, and one of your primary detox pathways is an expression of your internal health, and it's directly connected to your liver, which your liver is one of your most important detox organs. And if it's burdened and overburdened and toxic and polluted, it's going to express through your skin and basically show you that it's having complications that you need to pay attention to, by what comes out on the outside. But unfortunately, and this goes for human and animal health, most people, even dermatologists, don't put the connection together because they're not trained, they're not taught, they're not educated, and they don't understand that there is that direct connection. Now, the one area that I will tell you that is probably the best to understand this is actually the holistic veterinary industry.
Yeah.
And because of growing up in the clinic, and I was actually just having this conversation with our technician who does our spa time for the Tilly dog and Hiccup and Fifi and Crumpet, our Crumpet cat. She was doing their nails this morning, and we were talking about skin, and because she's like, how are they doing, because they all got brushed out. They got their spa day a month ago and they got washed, and they have phenomenal skin because they get a few more things and other dogs don't get. And she's like, it's funny because I'm seeing a bunch of people that animals have skin conditions. I'm like, yeah, it's one of two things. And we were talking about diet, and I said the other part is toxicology, right? And it's just being polluted. And she's like, yeah, their livers are so small that they respond so quickly to the environment. And you go, hello, and that's really the key, is the understanding that we are insanely complex, but we're also extremely sensitive. We need to be, because our body's designed to be rather protective, and we miss a lot of those cues. So we're working to have people become more sensitive to their environment, but the term environment is much more broad in our scope than I think what people are accustomed to, because we're looking internal first to take care of this environment, while then we're also addressing the surrounding environment.
Yeah, and at the moment, I mean, obviously, we talk about stress a lot, and humans talk about stress. It's so much more in our vocabulary these days. When when I was growing up, it was never spoken about, particularly in Britain. Didn't speak about things like that. But also, stress affects our animals in massive ways, and it's a huge immune suppressor. And at the moment, in this mad world, when we're all trying to make sense of what on earth is happening, a lot of people are under extra stress, plus also, particularly the type of people that are going to be watching the videos you and I do. I'll have to be careful with my words here, but they're very well aware of some additional stresses on the bodies, in the environment, etc., that are around at the moment. So all of this is interweaving, and often, by the time, what people don't realize, I think, is by the time it expresses itself as a skin issue, then the problem's quite well established, isn't it? And you've really got to treat it from the inside out, and then support the symptoms topically to relieve the pain and pressure.
You have to be aware of the issues. And I think, with pets, if we're talking about our primary pets, and we'll just go with dogs and cats, right? We can throw horses. You've got such a profound community in the equine space, so we can include horses in this as well. That these three species of animals are so energetically sensitive, that you have to understand that when it comes to stress, that they are not only an expression of their own internal environment and what's going on around them, but they're also an expression of the stress that you're under, because energetically they're so connected to us that if you are stressed, they're stressed, and they're not only carrying the burden of their internal stress, their environmental stressors, the environmental toxins, the pollutants, the chemicals, of everything that's in them, because you have to get back to the frequency aspect and the negative antennas, that those toxins serve as in both of us. But they're also this resonant being that is a receptacle of our energy, and they're an expression of how we're functioning. I mean, if you get around your animals, if you come home and you're really depressed because you had a bad day, your dog will look at you like, you're wearing me out right now. I need to. And when they want to go out and play, you think it's them wanting to go play. They're like, no, I need you to get outside because you aren't balanced right now.
Yes, that's so true.
It's really important to understand that expression, right? That if you're imbalanced, your pets are going to be imbalanced. Your toxicity is their toxicity, right? So the most important thing you can do to take care of your pets is actually take care of yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have you seen someone who has cancer that doesn't know they have cancer, that eventually finds out they have cancer because their dog had cancer?
Absolutely.
And their dog's like, well, you have these issues. I'm going to show you have these issues. Dog knows before. Energetically, your dog's going, hey, you have a problem, and you're not paying attention. So it's really, really important to know that you have those connections. You've got to take care of yourself in order to take care of them, because I mean, we are their caregiver. They are our caretaker. But it's important to know you've got to handle both sides, because if you only focus on one, you're missing a major half and major component. And you see the expression of those so quickly. And it's like you hit on, a lot of the skin conditions and, the prevalence today, you can look at acne in kids, you can look at eczema, psoriasis, fungal infections. Some of the stuff we've seen, Dr. Tina Bozishnik, who's a phenomenal member of our International Science and Nutrition Society. She's an ambassador with the Root brand. She was voted just here this year the #1 physician in the entire country of Slovenia, not just in her scope of practice, which is integrated pediatrics, but in all medicine, #1 doctor in the country. And what she's seen, she has case studies of eczema and psoriasis and fungal stuff on these kids with scabs on their scalp and everything. And she's like, look, I'm seeing this stuff go away in a week. And she's getting outcomes that she's never seen before in clinical practice. And you understand that your skin, these skin conditions are just that expression. And it's a lot like having a vehicle. It's your warning light on your car that comes on to let you know that, hey, there's some stuff going on here that you need to address. It's not, oh, I've got to treat this specific issue, right? It's like, oh, I have eczema. I'm going to get a drug to treat my eczema, or I'm going to get calamine lotion and different stuff to just treat my skin. And I'm going to see if I can get it to go away. That's not going to deal with it. You have to address it from the inside out. There are things you can do topically as well as doing internally simultaneously. And that's the beautiful part of Restore and Clean Slate, of being able to use it topically as well as, consuming it orally. And it's really taking that holistic approach, the issues that you see on the outside are not external, right? They're not topical. That's where they come out.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
It's a lot like looking at a tree, right? You go, oh, wow, this plant is blooming. And you go, yeah, but it came from the roots, right? It's from underground of where everything came up from. You're like, where's the source of this? Did it come from the sky? No, it came from the earth out. Same thing with what we see, right? It's from what's inside you that's coming out, like fungal infections. And it's a huge thing right now because of what's going on in the world, that we're dealing with mold and fungal issues. Those are the big ones. And that stuff doesn't just show up on your skin. It comes from the inside out. You've got to get in, get it, and then you'll see things go away topically.
Yeah, it's just it's so important, because the distress it causes to whether it's a human or an animal is really, really awful. And then often a lot of the conventional treatments, they're just not, as you say, addressing the root cause of the problem at all. They're just purely not only masking the symptoms, but actually often pouring more toxins into the body that are then very, very difficult to deal with. And this also applies to allergies as well, because when you're suffering from allergies, again, it's the same root cause of the problems. It's the fact that you've got a toxin overload, that your microbiome and your immune system isn't coping. So the solution really for all of these are the same. So let's talk through some of the solutions, because you've had some amazing case studies with your
We have. And to hit on the allergy part's really, really important as well, because you have to understand how allergies are created, right? And an allergen gets into the body, and an allergen can be damn near anything, right? And what happens typically is, if you have a leaky gut, right? Your gut's supposed to be like this, right? The mycelia and stuff in your gut's supposed to be really tight, and the membranes will allow nutrients and things to permeate naturally, properly through those membranes in your gut, so things can get into your bloodstream and they can be used and so on and so forth. But if you have a leaky gut, and that can be due to stress, it can be due to toxicity, heavy metals, glyphosate, lots of other stuff that gets in our system. It causes those junctions to open up improperly and things get through. Well, when something gets through that lining and gets into your bloodstream that's not supposed to be there, your immune system looks at that and goes, wait a minute, you're not supposed to be here. We need to get rid of you. So when that happens, you have a histamine response, you have an anaphylactic response, you have an immune response, and you naturally will create immunity to whatever leaked through. Best example is when you get stuck with stuff, on the vaccine schedule that is not just current, but has been constant for a long time with all the different things that are injected into people. There's a little secret that people don't really talk about that are in some of these vaccines, right? And Maxine, she's an evil one, you know what?
Yes, she's
And it's funny because I haven't seen this happen. And I don't think it'll happen because somebody's been paid off for it. Have you seen kids with peanut allergies?
oh, it's just ridiculous how many
And
got them
I
now.
remember when we were growing up, you know how
Yeah.
many people had peanut allergies?
No one.
None.
Mm.
Because why is that? Well, they put a little peanut oil in the freaking vaccine. And they go, why would you do that? Like, I don't know. I mean, so when injected with a little peanut oil into your bloodstream or into your body goes, wait a minute, I don't need you. You're not supposed to be here. So it has this immune response because of what's been injected. And voila, you're allergic to peanuts.
Yeah.
And you go, why am I allergic to peanuts? And why the peanut industry hasn't sued the vaccine industry and said, okay, you guys have wiped out a third of our consumers because kids can't have PB&J now.
Mm.
Which, I mean, come on, seriously, you want a passage of a rite of passage of life. You have to have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Seriously. And if you like Thai food and you can't have peanut sauce, I mean, seriously, this is horrible.
Terrible, actually. Yeah.
I mean, these are things that are capital crimes when you really look at it. I mean, someone should be executed for making people allergic to peanuts and spraying peanuts with glyphosate. Good Lord. But you have to understand that these things they're all correlated, right? It is a matter of understanding these pathways of like, oh, I'm allergic to these things. And you can look at someone, if you're talking with your friends, like, I'm allergic to this and this and this. No, you're not.
Mm.
You're just polluted. This needs to be this. And the interesting part is as you start to clean up your system, and this is where clean slate's really, really unique, that as you correct your microbiome, as your stomach and your gut starts to come back together, and you start to clean up your bloodstream, your allergies can go away because you reset your system. It's one of the coolest things we've seen. And I hear from people is like, I had these 6 allergies and I've been on clean slate for like 3 weeks and I don't have these allergies anymore. And there people are testing different stuff. They're like, I'm allergic to this and now I'm using it and I don't have an anaphylactic response. I'm like, kind of cool, right? So it's really, really important. Because it's all correlated. And I think that's the big part for people to understand is that what we try to teach, and we don't try to teach it just because we're trying to sell a bunch of stuff. It's like, look, this is the real science. These are the facts. All of this comes back to a couple really simple components. And, it's just tying it all together. And then when we get to look at outcomes, like you're saying, that's the fun part. It's like, look, we can talk all day long. I can sit here and talk about science, talk about how amazing the products are. None of that matters, right? If the stuff doesn't work, if you're not getting the outcomes, you're wasting everyone's time. And that's why we are so outcome focused, because that's the only measurement that matters, right? It doesn't matter how good we look on camera, how much time we spend talking about products and stuff. It's like, no, does the stuff work? Yeah. Okay, let's look at that part. And that's the stuff we get to celebrate. So
yeah, and I think so many people don't realize what's possible, because when there might be one family member, whether it's 2-legged or 4-legged or scaled or winged, that's got an issue, but that actually is pinpointing an issue that you're probably all exposed to some degree. So what I love is the fact that when people start making these changes, sometimes something nasty has to happen, like a disease or some really uncomfortable physical symptom. I mean, working with animals, skin issues is one of the most prevalent things I see. And it's just heart-wrenching to see how conventional vets, unfortunately, are just still going down some really, really nasty immunosuppressive drugs to sort of stop the symptoms, which are making the problem worse and worse, but also how easy it can be to resolve, where you take the toxins out and do that healing from the inside out, and then make the lifestyle changes to take out the things that have caused the problems in the first place as much as you can. And obviously diet is a big one of that, stress is a big one of that. But so talk me through how you would use the Clean Slate in conjunction with the Restore for sort of a wide variety of these issues.
Really, I mean, it's the simple aspect, starting Clean Slate with, you know, one drop in the morning, one drop in the evening. And if we're talking about our personal use, you can, you know, take it straight. You can put it in a glass of water if you don't like the salty citric flavor to it. And it's funny to have people ask you, like, can I add it in water? I'm like, yeah, it's already in water. If you dilute it a little bit, it ain't gonna hurt. It's just gonna take the flavor away. They're like, it's not gonna hurt it. I'm like, no, it's okay. You need more water anyway. But start with one drop in the morning, one drop at night. You can do the same thing with your pets. The funny part is depending upon the size of your animal, you know, you can do 2 to 3, 4 drops a couple times a day. Larger animals, you know, same dosage as humans. What's interesting is for horses, you know, the dosage for horses is interesting, because I've had a couple people ask questions like, can I use this on my horses, and how much do I use? Like, 5 to 10 drops twice a day. They're like, yeah, but they're so much bigger than this. I'm like, true, but they're also more energetic than we are. And you don't need a lot to do it. And 10 drops twice a day for large animals is phenomenal for them. The interesting component is we see in humans, and this is where humans are much dumber than animals, is we have people going, well, I can't handle more than 1 or 2 drops. I'm like, yeah, it's because you're dehydrated. And animals, when you give it to your pets, you can give your pets like 3, 4, 5 drops, you know, a couple times a day on their food or on a snack, and they love it.
Yeah.
One, they love the salt. They love the salty flavor of it, because the trace minerals, which they don't get enough of, because we don't supplement that in their diet very much, so they need the trace minerals. And you're like, I give my animals more than I give myself, and they love it. They don't have the detox responses. And I'm like, yeah, it's because they know to drink water. Yeah, because if you have your water trough for your horses, or you have your dish for your dogs or your cats, they know when they're hungry, they go to the bowl. If they're thirsty, they go drink water, and they make sure they're hydrated, because it's called their survival mechanism. But we've been programmed so innately as humans that we don't do the things that are good for us. We do the exact opposite.
Yes.
Right. We're like, yeah, I'm going to go drink
treat.
Terrible for me, or I'm just not going to drink stuff during the day. And people will ask the question. I'm like, yeah, I get a headache. I'm like, yeah, it's because you're dehydrated. They're like, well, how's that work? I'm like, because your brain is bathed in water. And here's the pathway that's really important to understand with Clean Slate.
Making me thirsty now.
Exactly. I don't have any water in front of me, but here's what's really important with Clean Slate. And here's the pathway that this takes place through. And we've proven this. You can see it on slides and videos of live blood cell analysis. Is intracellular water is actually the key to vitality and longevity. You want the key to anti-aging. It is that simple little thing. I want to write a book on this, but I'm terrible at writing, and I've got like 5 books in my head, and Christina's like, we have to write a book together. I'm like, that means I actually have to sit down and write, and I suck at it. I can talk really well. But one of the philosophies that I have that I think everyone can take with them, because it's an easy and simple perspective, is the difference between being a grape versus a raisin.
Yeah.
Right. They're the same thing. Right. Grapes and raisins are the same thing. There's just one differentiating factor. Water. If you remove the water from a grape, you get a raisin. If you don't hydrate well over time, you look like a raisin.
It's so true.
And the key to that is intracellular water, because that's the key to cellular vitality. We need water. We're made of water. We're made of seawater, right? That's why we use sea salt in Clean Slate. It's why we encourage everyone to eat more sea salt, because all of the trace minerals that we need are in sea salt. It's all there. It is honestly that simple. Mineral supplementation is really, really simple. Eat more sea salt, not iodized white table salt, sea salt, different kinds of it, right? We talk about creating variety with the vegetables and the meats and stuff that we eat. You want to have that same variety with your salts, right?
Yes.
You want Celtic salt, you want Himalayan salt, you want Hawaiian salt, you want salt from the Great Salt Lake, which is where we source our salt from, because it's from a mineral content, is one of the purest, most abundant sources. But you want these varieties in sea salts, and they're great for seasoning your food and everything, and they're really healthy for you because we need it. We're made from it. We don't get enough of it. But if you're not getting the salts and you're not hydrating, water and trace minerals, crucial, right? So what happens is if you're toxic, if your cells are polluted and they're, instead of having all of these trace minerals, going to their normal binding sites, the heavy metals, the mercury, cadmium, arsenic, lead, aluminum, cesium, strontium, some of the new stuff that these little Maxines are putting in you, they will block binding sites. They will block the sites that these trace minerals, that hormones like testosterone, estrogen are supposed to go to. They block the cell's ability to bring water in and out of the cell. Mercury shuts off a cell's ability to move water in and out of the cell. So as you start to remove these toxins, and this is what Clean Slate does really effectively, one of the first things that takes place, and this happens in seconds, not a joke, in seconds and minutes, because we've seen this in live blood cell analysis, your cells begin to immediately rehydrate because we're starting to remove some of those toxins, and you're waking up the body to the process to say, hey, you can get rid of this stuff. You can let go of it, and we'll clean it up now. So in so doing, your cells start to plump up. They will start to bring in more water and re-gel, right? Because it's structured water that's inside your cells. So you have to look at where that comes from. Your red blood cells are increasing in volume. So they're going to start taking water from your bloodstream, right? The plasma, the water that's there, into the cells to become more plump, to become more vital, right? To become more energetic, because red blood cells are not just for delivering oxygen. They have so much more capability and so much more influence in bodily function. So look at where that comes from. Your cells are taking water from your bloodstream. So if all of your cells start to rehydrate, your blood is going to need more water, right? Because you don't want your blood to thicken up if it doesn't have enough water, right? We're seeing what happens when your blood gets a little too thick right now, right? Where's the water come from? Well, it comes from your gastrointestinal system. Your small intestine, your large intestine is where your body stores extra water. So your body naturally is going to start pulling water back out of your small and large intestine to rehydrate your bloodstream. When you do that, what happens? If you're not getting more water, you get a little bit dehydrated. Your body will start to tell you, hey, here's a headache for you. And your body starts to try to process stuff out. What do you need to process things out of your body? Through your liver, through your kidneys. You need water because you have to urinate. You have to process it. You need more fluids. So without those fluids, you can become constipated for a little bit. Your body wants to flush the stuff out, and it's like, hello, we can't get things moving here because we need more fluids. So you start to see the warning signs. You get these little indicators of your body going, hey, I need more water. But if you don't understand what this process is, you're going to miss it. You're like, man, I don't feel good. I'm like, you're dehydrated, right? So you have to just drink more water, not just poor water, but good water.
Yeah.
And so everybody in the UK, because you have such a phenomenal influence in the UK, there's a water company in the UK, a bottled water provider that is the purest, some of the best water I've ever seen. They're actually based in the UK. We're working on a collaboration. They deliver to your home. It's great. We're working on a collaboration to make this available through Root, that everybody can have amazing water. And there's a couple other collaborations that we're working on, because from an environmental standpoint, we want to be able to hit on every major area that we know, needs to be done, like indoor air.
Yeah.
We got to get rid of the mold. We got rid of that. So there's specific collaborations we're working on. But water is so crucial, right? It's crucial for your animals. It's crucial for us. And it is the key. If you're using Clean Slate, you got to drink more water. You have to drink more water. The more water, the better. I mean, and you'll find your balance, right? As your body starts to rehydrate, you don't have to drink a ton. You just need really good stuff that allows your system to start working. And here's the thing. The more water you consume as you go through this process, the better your skin is going to look, because your skin's one of the last places to get water, because it's the outside organ. If you're not well hydrated, you're going to have shitty looking skin. The more hydrated you are, the better your skin is going to look, right? Because you need the fluids, right? You don't want to be dry, right? And that's the thing, is people think, oh, I need moisturizer. What is nature's moisturizer? It's freaking water.
Water, yeah. Exactly.
But you don't need it outside. You take a bath, you take a shower, you're like, okay, I'm bathing myself in water. No. It has to go in. There's only so much that works through osmosis, right? You have to put it in. It needs to go through your system and work. So you start with Clean Slate. You can start with 1 drop, 1 drop in the morning, 1 drop at night. You can titrate up. 10 drops twice a day is what we recommend. When you look at the bottle, we say 10 drops in the morning, 10 drops at night. Sometimes it takes a little work to get there. There's strategery in why we say that. And it's not just the detox component of what Clean Slate does. It's the delivery of the trace minerals and the delivery of the little secret that makes Clean Slate so special. And it's why you don't see clinoptilolite on the label. You see silicon dioxide on the label, because it's the bioavailable silica that is in Clean Slate that is the secret. It's the secret sauce, right? And it's what makes clinoptilolite so amazing and so special. And it's why it's been suppressed for so long and so misunderstood, that this sodium aluminosilicate is nature's secret to provide bioavailable silica. And when you do that, your hair, your skin, your nails start to go crazy, because it's the silica that's the building block for regeneration. So we're cleaning up the mess, but then we start delivering the key components for restructuring and redevelopment and regeneration, right? Because there's so much that's put into the promotion of collagen products right now, right? Everyone's like, I need more collagen. I need more collagen. Well, guess what? If you remove the heavy metals and the toxins, and you provide the bioavailable silica, and then you get some of the amino acids, here's the simple part. Do you know where the amino acids come from? Your freaking diet. You get them in vegetables, and you get them in some meats and some fat. You get them in butter, get them in some meats, you get a lot in vegetables. The combination of those amino acids, the silica, collagen, done. So combining those things, and there's a lot of different hydrolyzed collagen products on the market right now, and we're formulating something in this space that is going to be an absolute beast. I can't wait to try it, because Christina and I have tested different collagen products for years. I'm kind of a freak when it comes to clinoptilolite, and the colostrum is really important for the gut as well. And we looked at it and like, why have each individual product when you can combine them all? If you strategically combine these 3 things together, you can do something really cool. So it's one of the things you get for being on Root Prime when it's available for testing, is you'll have access to this. But the ability to put the body in the right position to allow this amazing operating system to start doing what it's capable of doing is really, really the crucial component, right? Get the bad stuff out, let that process start, feed it water. And like, I'll show, I mean, I can't take my laptop off because I'll end up unplugging it. But do you know how to make your plants grow? Like we have a little greenery, one of these new indoor greenhouses that we have in the office that we're growing stuff. Do you know what the most important thing is? You give your plants to make them grow.
I talk to them.
Talk to them, right? But there's one thing that they need a lot of in order to bloom. It's called water.
Oh, yes, you do need, unless it's my aloe plant. You can't see at the back that I've got 2 huge aloe vera plants.
Yeah, they need a lot of water.
Yeah.
Right? They need their water. And what happens if you don't give them water? They wilt and die. But if you overwater them, that's also bad, right?
Yeah.
But if you water them properly and you give them really good water and you structure it, if you talk to the water, you pray with the water, you can structure it through crystals. But the important part to understand, this is one little secret that people will find over time, and this is not something that you can do immediately. This is part of the recrystallization of the human body that takes place through using clean slate for a while, is you actually have the ability to restructure water on your own through your thoughts, through your intention, and through our energy, because we are crystalline, right? We are loaded with silica. It's us, so you have the capability of doing that as you become, more crystalline. And good water, good outcomes, right? Without it, you miss the boat. You'll kill your plants. You'll kill your pets if you don't give them water, right? Imagine having animals and just say, I'm going to feed you, but I'm not going to give you any water.
And you can see also, I mean, when I was out walking my dogs this morning, they know exactly which puddles to drink from, because they can smell, they can pick up the nutrients, they can pick up which minerals in there. So we've talked about this before. If you want to know what water's good to drink, just follow your animals' examples. Yeah. And there's a reason why quite often they won't drink your tap water.
Yeah. And they're like,
they know what's in it.
My Tilly dog. So the Tilly dog, she's hilarious. And it's amazing how these dogs, function, because I try to take her out every morning and we throw the ball, I try to get in 10 to 15 laps, throwing the ball with her so she gets her work in. And that way she's functional when she's in the office with me. But if I really get her going and I really wear her out, she'll go in the backyard, and we have a saltwater pool. She's learned that when she gets really hot, she will go lay down in the pool, and she'll go to the first step in the pool, she'll lay down, and then she'll start just drinking water because it's salt water. And I'm like, initially I'm like, Tilly, no. And then I'm like, nah, she knows what she's doing. She's getting the salt water. So I'm like, because we don't have chlorine in there. Yeah. It's just salt water. So I'm like, can't argue with her. I mean, I open my eyes underwater when I'm swimming because we're salt water, and I'm like washing my eyes out. So it's like, she knows.
Yeah, absolutely. When
it's interesting.
Yeah. So what about, the clean slate, absolutely key for anyone with skin conditions, with their animal skin conditions. What about the Restore? Because you can use that both internally and topically, can't you?
And you can use them. You can use clean slate the same way. So Restore. It's hard to really talk about all of the aspects of what Restore does and what it's designed to do, because it's going to sound like I'm making claims.
They're so delicious. I love them.
Oh man, it's like dessert. I mean, I think one of the things for the holidays is, finding different ways of cooking or preparing meals with Restore. Like if you like different salads, using it just as a drizzle on salad. If you use it on fish, depending upon what you're preparing, as a dessert topping, it tastes, it's so freaking tasty. It's ridiculous. But the ability to use something that is highly antifungal, that is highly anti-parasitic, that is a massive anti-inflammatory in so many different pathways. But it's also designed, to it be insanely nutrient rich.
Yeah.
Right. This nano emulsion delivery method that Christina created takes these natural compounds and has made them so much more bioavailable than ever before. But also the concentration, the quantity of the ingredients is so high in this stuff that it's amazingly impactful very quickly. So it's something that you can use topically as well. And if you follow skincare much, right, which women are going, I know skincare. Some of the ingredients are individually products that women already spend a lot of money on just for skincare. Aloe vera, resveratrol, right? Resveratrol is something is phenomenal for your skin. There are companies that sell just resveratrol products for skincare that are $60, $100, $200 a bottle just for resveratrol. But when you add the pure curcuminoids and apple cider vinegar, right? Because the apple cider vinegar, can be used as a wash. It's kind of like witch hazel, right? People are like, oh, witch hazel is good for you. It's good for your skin. You really clean your skin. And black cumin seed oil, and you can look at black cumin seed oil. It is one of the most powerful natural compounds on the freaking planet. I mean, it's been proved. There's great published literature over the last couple of months on treating COVID, with black cumin seed oil, and the anti-inflammatory properties of black cumin seed oil, and the anti-cancer properties of black cumin seed oil, and the antifungal properties of black cumin seed oil, and the antiviral properties of black cumin seed oil. And what's important, and this is what's crucial, and this is where Christina's understanding of nanotechnology, bioscience engineering, but product formulation, because she's been in biotech, she's been in pharma, she has postdoctoral certification at Harvard in nanotechnology and bioscience engineering. She has postdoctoral certification at Cornell in pharmaceutical management, as well as nutritional counseling. And because she speed reads with an eidetic memory, which is not fair, she's able to compile all of this data. And she's like the ultimate quantum computer. I mean, that she's able to take all this and go, okay, I want to use X amount of this, X amount of this. And if we combine these two together, we are going to see these things happen. Whereas if you just use them independently, if you're taking a resveratrol supplement and you're taking a black cumin seed supplement, you go, well, black cumin seed oil does this, resveratrol does this, and that's it. Well, you have a little thing called alchemy, right? That really isn't used much today, right? We've
talking
lost.
about this week with a couple of other people on one of my videos. Yeah.
So she is the alchemist, right? I mean, she is. I will put her up against anybody. And you pick the space when it comes to this space, biotech, pharma, nutraceutical. She is the alchemist. And what you have to understand is that what she's done is a matter of force magnification. I think that's the easiest way to explain it. And you look at that from a military premise, right? Is okay, what things can you add to the human or to the soldier to make them amplified in their ability to manage a scenario, right? What kind of weaponry, what kind of tools can you provide this specific soldier to say, okay, you're going to go into this environment, you're going to be able to handle this and this and this, you're going to be able to see at distance, you can see at night, you're going to have freaking lasers, you're going to have sharks with laser beams attached to their head, right? All of these things. How do you magnify how do you amplify and magnify the output of that single individual? Well, she does the same thing with nutritional compounds of, okay, why would someone add apple cider vinegar to a formula of these components? Well, it's how doing it properly, structuring it properly, it's how you create these nano emulsions. And you can do this and this and this, and you combine these things in the proper way, and you do some specific steps that then taking 100 milligrams of black cumin seed oil and 150 milligrams of resveratrol is not like taking 100 milligrams of Resveratrol independently. Like I'm going to take a capsule, or I'm going to take some oil,
Yeah.
and I'm going to take 150 milligrams of Resveratrol independently and go, I'm going to pop a pill, or I'm going to use some stuff on my skin. Because of how they're combined and what they do together and the quality of the ingredients, it's not like you're getting 150 and 100. It's like you're getting 1,500 and 1,000. And they amplify each other. And when they come together, they create an opportunity to do additional things in your system. And when you use it topically, you see these things. If you take Restore, and we learn this from experience. Christina did this for herself. She created Restore for herself. And she's talked about this. She did a phenomenal interview yesterday, but she's talked about this on some of her videos. Well, pretty much on everything. She had Lyme disease when she was 19. She lost her memory. It took 2 years to recover. She's had multiple kinds of cancer. She has a pituitary tumor. She's had a spinal tumor, right? A sacromyelia, a tumor in the middle of her spine. If that went wrong, she would have been paralyzed, right? Because it's putting pressure on her spinal cord. You go, that's kind of a bad tumor. She's like, yeah, I had that. I got rid of it. She's had squamous cell, basal cell carcinomas all over her face, different parts of her skin. Over the last year, she's had basal cell carcinomas over her forehead that look like freckles. She had a couple spots on her cheek and a major squamous cell tumor on her nose, right under the tip of her nose. And she had these biopsied 6 months ago. We'd been working on some stuff for treating it. And because of her stress levels and because of her history, this is something she's dealt with since she was 25 years old, because she had a partial molar pregnancy where one of the twins that she had became cancer. And they told her she needed to have a medical abortion because the other twin was not going to make it. And if he did, he was going to be developmentally disabled because the other entity inside of him was cancer. And she said, no, I'm going to carry to term. I'm not going to do treatment. I'm not going to do a medical abortion. He's going to be fine. And they're like, if you do this, you will have cancer for the rest of your life. And this is going to go throughout your entire body. There's no way you're going to be able to stop it. Because if we do any treatment on you, we're going to kill the other baby. She's like, I got this. So Duquesne, our oldest one, was the byproduct of that. He has a genius level IQ and didn't have any problems, but she took the consequence and said, great, I'll just deal with different types of cancer because it's fungal, it's mold, it's all these different things. And because of where she grew up, she had all this stuff in her system, and it's been this process of cleaning it out. But she had, all these skin cancers, stuff on her nose. And a couple months ago, I think it was like 6 months ago, she went to go see her dermatologist, who's the #1 dermatologist here in Nashville, who's also an immunologist and an oncologist, one of the best in the country. So she did her biopsies, of her forehead, little scratch stuff of the biopsies, biopsied her nose. And if you understand cancer much, especially when it comes to skin cancer, cancer will create caverns, right? Because it'll eat into tissue. So if you have a tumor on your nose and you do a little scratch test on it, you go, okay, we can biopsy it. But if you want to do the biopsy, you do like a punch biopsy or something, you want to see what's in the tissue. If you get into the tumor and the needle goes whoop in real quick, problem, because it's already eaten into a lot of that space, right, where the tissue is. Well, when they biopsied her nose, it went whoop, and they're like, oh shit, that's not good. So the dermatologist told her, it's like, look, we need to do 30 rounds of radiation. And they were going to get about $2,000, $2,500 on every round of radiation. So if you do the math, there's a little bit of money to be made on that. $2,500 times 30. That's a pretty good month, right? And they wanted to spread it out over a couple months. But I'm like, no, we're not doing this. Let's wait for Restore to come, because she had formulated Restore as a means of addressing this stuff for herself, because she was an adjunct professor at Johns Hopkins in oncology. She was teaching oncologists cancer treatment protocols in her 20s. She's had cancer multiple times. She's been through this. Every time she's dealt with cancer or family's dealt with cancer, she's always been integrative in what she's done. And my wife, as you've seen, is stunning physically. And she's a savant intellectually. And you go, well, you've had all these cancer issues. Your hair looks like a supermodel. Your skin looks amazing. How does this work? So she's like, look, I'm creating Restore to take care of my issues internally and topically. So she was uncompromising in the formulation, right? Because if you're doing something for yourself, you're really not going to skimp on the ingredients, right? And as a businessman, right, it typically, when you're creating a product, you know, to sell in the retail market, you're cognizant of what your margins are going to be, right? Because you want things to be profitable. Because if a company isn't profitable, a company doesn't stay in business. But when your wife comes to you and says, I want to do it this way because this is what's best and this is what's going to take care of me, well, the rest of the conversation really doesn't freaking matter. It's like, well, babe, this is going to be really expensive to make. And she's like, I don't care. It's going to work and it's for me. As a husband, you go, yep, we're good. Not going to fight with you. So when she formulated this, she did so knowing that she had carte blanche to say, I want to do this. And the first formula, I'll give you guys the behind the scenes on how this conversation went. The first formula of Restore that she did, we sent to our manufacturer and said, look, she wants this and this and this and this and this. These are the concentrations she wants, because this is what the literature shows is going to be. She basically created a nuclear bomb, you know, for everything bad, and said, this is what I want. And they came back to me and they're like, we can't do this. I'm like, why not? And I'm like, why can't we do it? She's like, then they're like, two reasons. One, it's so highly concentrated, it'll stain your teeth, even if you take one sachet. And two, there's no way we could do it. There's no way you could make this marketable because the price is off the chart. I'm like, okay. So I went back to her. I'm like, my love, cut it in half. It's like, and play with the numbers, make sure everything fits. Look at your research, but you got to change the amount of what's in it because we can't do it. It's too strong. She's like, why? I'm like, this and this. She's like, okay. So she went back, tweaked it. They came back with it, and they're like, we have a problem. I'm like, oh, of course you do. And if you've taken different liquids, right, liquid nutritional supplements, there's something that, if you pay attention, is pretty much a standard across the board, right? So if you've taken different liquid products, or you've taken different gel products in the category of like Restore is in, they all have one flavor. If you've noticed this, they're all berry flavored, some sort, right? Because the berry flavoring, you know, of blackberry, raspberry, different stuff, they're a masking agent for the flavors of some of these other ingredients because they're very tart. And then you can add different types of sweeteners. Natural sweeteners are always the best, right? And it's important that a little bit of sugar is not a bad thing if it's the right kind of sugar, right? It's very important to use the right kinds. You don't want synthetics. You want some very strategic components. But the berry flavoring profile is the industry standard. Well, they came back. They're like, we have a problem. I'm like, what's the problem now? They're like, well, because of the concentration of ingredients and the amount of black cumin seed oil and the amount of turmeric and the amount of resveratrol that she's using, along with, you know, the other components with the apple cider vinegar, she's like, the ingredients are actually overpowering the flavoring profile. They're stronger than the berry flavor. It doesn't work. It won't work. People, you just can't take it. It's too strong. I'm like, okay, what are you gonna do? What are we gonna do? And they came back to like, we have a strawberry mango flavoring system that we've been working on that we've never used before. Can we try it? I'm like, well, yeah, we don't have an alternative. And they're like, look, it's all natural strawberries and mangoes. It's not the full mango. It's not a full strawberry. So that's why on the box, you see natural flavors, right? Because that's how it has to be.
A lot of people get scared with natural flavors because they
get scared of natural flavors if you don't understand. Yeah, because there's a lot of natural flavors that are really not good for you. Really not. Yeah. It is a way of hiding different things and saying, oh, this is a natural flavor. And like, it's not really. But also, if you understand the game, if you're using a strawberry, an extract of a strawberry, right? So the extract that gives you all the flavor, and you're using an extract of mango, that we're not pureeing an entire mango and we're not using the whole thing, then we have to say it's a natural flavor. Yeah. And so they combined the strawberry mango flavor profile along with the ingredients. And they sent us first samples and I tried it and like, oh no, like this is not fair. And with the first samples we had some people taste it and they're like, you can't make it taste like that. It's too sweet because it tastes like dessert and people are going to think it's not healthy because it tastes so good. So I'm like, back off the organic cane sugar. And like there's a big push in some instances for polycosanol right now because some of the findings on polycosanol. Well, polycosanol comes from organic cane juice, right? Organic sugar cane, which is what we use as the flavor enhancer, the natural sugar, because there's benefits of organic cane sugar. And we got it back. We're like, oh no. And I had some of my son's friends try it. So you get some 14-year-olds to try it. Like, taste this for me. Tell me what you think. And they're like, is this good for you? I'm like, yeah, it's actually really good for you. It's like, no, it tastes too good to be good for you. I'm like, that's all I needed to hear. I'm like, if teenagers will take it, we're good. But what she's done is combine these into a mechanism that is so highly concentrated and so bioavailable that when you take it internally, you feel it like really quickly. It's what I tell people about the tingle, right? Because black cumin seed oil is an analgesic, right? It's like it functions in many aspects of, the anti-inflammatories and such, but it functions like lidocaine. It has the ability to function like lidocaine in high concentrations. So if you take Restore and you hold it in your mouth for a little bit and you swish it around your mouth or you hold it on the back of your throat, you'll feel the tingle, right? You'll get that analgesic feeling. You're like, wait a minute, my tonsils are numb. You're like, kind of cool. So when you use it topically, you get all of these super concentrated compounds that are all combined together that hyper function on your skin. So the first night when we got Restore in, that we got to test it, we did facials. She's like, this is supposed to be used. You can use this topically. It's designed for oral, but you can use it topically as well as, taking some. So we took the sachet and then we did facials and we went to bed with it on. So we woke up the next morning orange because it's got the orange color, but we had the facial on. She was like, and I sleep on my back, so I didn't stain my pillowcase or anything. And she sleeps on me. So I'm like, all right, we're good. And she got up the next morning. We wipe her face. We wash our faces off. I just use some water and a little soap. She does the same thing. And all of the little basal cell carcinomas that were on her forehead just washed right off. And she's like, oh my God. And she's standing in the mirror. She's like, I feel like I just had a 4-hour facial. Her skin was so soft. It was glowing. And she's like, look at my forehead, because the stuff that was up here that looked like freckles just came off. And it's been a few months that we've been doing this. All of the tumor sites she had, even the one on her nose, this one took a bit, right? Because she's like, they want me to do this. They want me to do this. They want me to do this. I'm like, we're not doing it. Just keep going. Let's watch what happens. And then it's taken a few months, but this major spot just gone, completely gone. Her nose is back to normal. And all of our friends that have known for years, she's got this, it's her only blemish. And my wife is flawless, right? Except this one blemish. And her friends are like, Christina, what have you done? Your spot on your nose is gone and your skin is glowing. What are you doing? And her dermatologist, she went into her dermatologist. She's like, let's see how it's doing. And her dermatologist biopsied her forehead, biopsied her face and everything. And her dermatologist is like, what are you doing? You haven't come to see me. What have you done? She's like, oh, I used some of the stuff I created and I'm using it topically and orally. She's like, I want it. Because I've never, it's like, it's gone. And she's like, what did you do? She said, one, your skin is like so moist, it's glowing, And all of the stuff that I biopsy that I know this is cancer, this is cancer, this is cancer, this is cancer, it's gone. What? This doesn't happen. And she's like, it does. These are the things that you can see. So when you feed your body, internally, and you can also feed it topically, right? Because transdermal delivery is something that works as well.
Yeah.
If you have the right mechanisms, so you can put the body in a position to do some really amazing stuff. We have people that are using Restore on their scalp. I mean, you can see my hair's, crazy for a reason. That if they have different skin conditions, if you have, I'll say, pain points, carpal tunnel, joint conditions where there's pain and inflammation in them, it's been outstanding to hear people provide feedback and outcome data and go, those issues are gone. Like when we first got Restore in, I had a couple of our customers that were in the office, and one of the guys has serious neuropathy, peripheral neuropathy, due to chemical exposure from his line of work. And he's been on Clean Slate, and a lot of the neuropathy has dissipated pretty significantly. And he'd still get pain. Sometimes he would get shooting pain in his feet like multiple times a day. Now it's become sporadic with his use of Clean Slate. And when we got Restore, he's in the office. I'm like, here, try one. And he took a sachet in the office, and in 10 minutes, he's like, we have it on video. And he's like, my feet don't hurt. And after about an hour, he's like, my feet feel really good right now. It's like, they haven't felt this good in many, many years. What is going on? Like, that's impressive. And we've seen this across the board, and it's the important part of understanding that when you put really good stuff in, not just okay stuff, but when you give it's like having a car, and if you're using like low octane fuel in a high performance vehicle, right? Because we are not a Yugo, right? When it comes to, if we use a car analogy, right? We're not a cheap rundown car. We are the most high performance electric Formula One vehicle made, right? That is what this system is. Sometimes it's all burdened that it'll perform like an old beat down Yugo, but we are the most high performance vehicle ever produced. And if you give it like really poor low octane fuel, you will get poor performance. But if you start to upgrade the oil, you clean out the fuel system, and then you start to give it amazing high octane performance based fuel, you see a higher level of performance. You'll see that vehicle come alive and perform in a manner that you might be unfamiliar with. We are that. And that's the real beautiful part of using these products over time, right? This is not a quick fix.
Yeah,
right?
It's very important for people to realize that. Yeah.
It is so crucial. And people are so accustomed to using supplements and going, oh, I've used this stuff. I felt really good initially, but I've been doing this for 6 months and I really don't feel much different now. I felt really good and then it just tapered off, and now I just use it because, it worked a little bit before and I think it's just helping me. No, it's not. It's like you're just throwing your money away. What we've seen, and we've got a year and a half on, February of 2000. So we got February. We've almost got 2 years of data now on our community, on our initial community that have been with us for 2 years. Mm. The community are still seeing changes because we are continually every day upgrading a little bit, different areas of the body. Your body is going, okay, let's work on this today. We got a little bit over here we can tinker with. You gave me some more tools. You know what? Let's tinkle on the rear with the rear axle today. And it's like, oh, you know what, today let's work on the brakes. Let's put on some new brake pads. And then, you know what, let's change the fuel lines here, you know, because there's a little clogging in these fuel lines. So let's take those off. Let's put on some brand new ones. Let's put on ceramic things here and there, you know, like you're playing with a car, right? And then eventually, if you tinker with a car like that over time, you have something that in, you know, years, if you look at someone that gets an old, like 65 Mustang, that's all beat up and rusted out, and that they start to play with it. They strip it, they, you know, get rid of all the rust, and they redo the outside. And then they're like, okay, I'm going to go get a new engine. I'm going to get new axles. And they start putting together all this little stuff. And you don't do it overnight. It's not something that you rebuild overnight. It's a process to go, okay, we've done this. Now we need to get new glass, and we get new seats, and, you know, all these little things, all the little intricate details you start to put together. And eventually you go, I have a classic car that is, you know, outstanding now, right? That's what happens. But it is something that you can see start to take place, and you start these changes. And some of these changes can be profound initially because we're trashed, right? But then as you start to clean things up, your body goes, oh, I'm ready to get some work done now. So you start to see improvements. And then over time, it comes into the fine tinkering components. And you get to the point, it's like, wow, I'm doing good. And then you're like, I'm feeling better, or I'm seeing this now. I'm seeing this now. Why does my skin look amazing? You know, it's like, look, I used to look like I'm 60. Now I look like I'm 20. And you go, what's going on? It's like, well, this is what takes place. It's like, you have, and here's a little key component to this. If you're biblically minded and you've read this book, right? There's stories in this book that leave clues that if you know that there was an ark that was built, right? Because it's fact, it's known that Noah built an ark, right? There was a flood. We don't know what time frame this all happened because there's been a little bit of the story that's been skewed, but we know that there's an ark and all this stuff. Do you know Noah was 600 years old when he built it? So 60, 600, building a freaking ark, doing construction, doing all that stuff. He had a little help, guarantee it. We think 60 is old. And you go, oh, well, we're supposed to slow down. We're not made for that. We're made to be bright, vital, abundant. We can go for a long time, but you have to continue to upgrade your operating system, and you have to make sure that you're not a victim of your environment.
Yeah, because that's what people need to realize is that, you know, however much you're doing, whether we like it or not, most of us are constantly exposed to these environmental challenges, and they're getting more and more at the moment. So, and a lot of them, we will never know what they're really exposing us to. So it's really important. You don't clean your house once and never clean it again. Although my husband would like to do that. He thinks it's a waste of time because it's only going to get hairy again. But it's really important. You know, like Christina says, you brush your teeth twice a day for a reason. And that's what you've got to do. You just got to keep that cleansing process going so that you're keeping on top of whatever is being thrown at you. And then it takes the stress off. It takes the massive stress off because you can concentrate on what you can control and ignore what you can't.
And that is something that is so crucial. And I'll give you a couple things. And I want to hit on vanity. Remind me to hit on vanity after I hit on this one thing as far as the control. And of the three, right, we're talking about restore. We're talking a lot about clean slate. The one that doesn't get enough conversation is zero in. And I'm going to give you a little secret on zero in.
Better take mine now. Yeah.
It is, because I took my 3 this morning, and people are like, hold on, you take 3 at once? I'm like, yeah, I take 3. And notice I'm not jittery. I'm not wired. There's a little secret to what this stuff does, and it's what you just hit on. Have you taken 2 or 3 at once yet?
Just about to, and you can see what happens to me. Yeah.
Take 2 and watch what happens. One of my attorneys took 2 for the first time yesterday. And it's funny, she sent this typing emoji back to like, she's like, I'm on 0 in right now. And I had a couple of our customers write responses and testimonials. One of them was like, I forgot what she said. She's like, she's had this major stressful stuff happen. Somebody was sick. Some stuff went really bad. You know, things that would just normally stress you out. You know, and
Grown a tail.
That's right.
I've grown a tail already. Grown and I've grown a monkey tail. Sorry, my joke.
And she's like, I took 4-0 in. I think she lost her job, her husband lost her job, and some other stuff was like really bad for the day, stuff that really stressed you out. She's like, I took 4-0 in and I don't even care right now. She said, it's not bothering me because dopamine and serotonin are so amazing, right? That they allow us to process everything. They allow us to be calm. They allow us to feel good. But we don't have enough of it just to be normal, but we don't understand. And I think a lot of people actually fear amazing, right? We don't understand what it's, you know, the movie Limitless with Bradley Cooper. That's why some of our ambassadors over in London, Sandy and the crew, he nicknamed me Bradley. He's like,
I wonder why I called you Bradley. I never watched films, so I didn't have a clue why I called you Bradley.
So he's like, that's why he calls me Bradley. He's like, dude, you're like Bradley Cooper in Limitless. And this is like the Limitless pill, because cognitively you can start functioning at a level of which you can see and process everything, because dopamine and serotonin and norepinephrine and melatonin, they're neurotransmitters, right? Dopamine and serotonin are the two primary ones because it's those two that create the cascade for the other ones to be produced and become functional as well. If you have high levels of dopamine and serotonin, natural, endogenous, right? This is what's really crucial. Not synthetically produced, not cocaine, not heroin, not caffeine, not taking stuff that amps one of them up. Endogenous, meaning bodily produced. And this is what makes 0 in so special and people haven't played with enough yet. Me, I love to play with this stuff. It keeps me at a level of which I've never seen before. I wish I had when I was competing in college. And you attain a level of performance, a level of clarity, a level of relaxed, hyper focus that is honestly unfair in performance. It's why the use of substances that boost dopamine are illegal in athletic performance. It's the reason cocaine is illegal in sports. Not because it's terrible for you, which it is, and it will kill you. And, you know, people say cocaine's really expensive, like it costs a lot of money. I'm like, no, cocaine will cost you your house, right?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
It's horrible, but it boosts dopamine levels so high so quickly. You only get about a 30-minute rush. Same thing with heroin. You get this rush that is so profound that 30 minutes later you crash and your body's like, give me more of that now. Meth is the same way. And that's what ruins people, because you'll never get that hit back. You'll never attain that level because it fries it. And your body's like, your brain's going, oh, I want that feeling again. I want that feeling now. Go get it for me again. And you start chasing it. You'll never find it. But if you have the ability to feed your gut the high octane fuel that allows your gut to go, oh yeah, I know how to do this. It's like, oh, I can go 0 to 60 in 2.4 versus 5.6 now. Let's have some fun. And knowing that that process is completely regulated within your system, right? So you're not overpowering anything. You're giving your body the ability to produce these two neurotransmitters. And you can say, you know what? I'm filling up the tank. And not only am I filling up the tank, I'm using freaking rocket fuel instead of, you know, regular gasoline now. And my system's able to use both of them because of what we are. It's like, let's see what rocket fuel does for a little bit, right? Let's fill up the tank. And then knowing that based on your intention, based on what you want to do, because it is our intention, we have the ability. Most of us know this. I think your community understands this greatly. We have the ability to manifest anything that we want. We create our reality, right? This is what the controllers, those that are trying to lock us up, know, that don't want us to engage, that we control reality. We dictate reality. We are the sun. We are this amazing starburst, right? I am very, very devout in my Christianity. I'm not one who buys into organized religion, but I understand that we are all made to be Christ-like, right? And if that's the case, we are all light. And when you take the light and you turn up, you crank the brightness, not to 10, but to 100, knowing you thought you only went to 10, and you can turn that up to 100, and you go, oh, whoa, there's some stuff I didn't know I was capable of.
Yeah, and it's so important, because people just don't realize how suppressed
what you're what's how we don't understand how special this amazing being is until you start to tweak it and you go, I can have rocket fuel. It's like Neo in the Matrix, right? Of when he starts to get plugged in to the Matrix and starts to be able to understand that he can use what's been around him. One of my favorite, I've got so many favorite lines I get from that, because it's such a great example. And it's a tool that they use to show us what we're capable of, but it's also showing us what they're using us for.
Yeah,
all of these amazing metaphors. But when you see him sit there and he gets unplugged and he's like, I know Kung Fu. Give me more. When we start to do that, when you start to realize that I am way more than I've ever imagined, and I have the ability to do way more than I knew I was capable of, because I've been so limited in my capability, that each of us understanding that we are the light, like I was saying, it is an epiphany of performance that you're like, oh my God, I'm never going back.
I think that's the thing. And I think, people are now at a stage where, they've realized that this isn't good enough. We're not moving forward to their new normal. We're moving forward to our new creation, basically, about what we're going to put up with, what we're going to create for ourselves and the world we want to live in moving forward. And that has to start with yourself. You can't keep, gone are the days, we can't keep blaming everyone else. They're doing this for us. We have to take responsibility back for ourselves, and also take responsibility back for those of us that depend on us for their choices, like our animals, like our children, etc. That it's so important.
And friends and family. And I think this is what's crucial, right? Is there are the select few right now that are becoming aware of what's going on around them. But you have those that are like, hey, I want to do this for myself. And that's why we created the community concept of Root, right? Is you have those, you can say, early adopters. That are like, hey, you know what? I get what you're doing. I'm doing my research. I'm willing to go out and say, I'm going to try this stuff. And then when they start seeing results, they're like, I got some people close to me I want to take care of. Or I have those that are kind of kind that I'm going to go to and say, hey, all the stuff that we've really wanted to do, you got to try this stuff. And then you start seeing, the expansion, and that this is such a crucial time. And it's what I'm trying to tell people right now, like COVID burnout, right? People have been so stressed for so long. We've been so burdened with so many different things that it's been designed to burn us out, to weaken us, to just get us to submit. And the holiday time, the highest time period for rates of suicide in the United States is actually Thanksgiving. It's the time when people come together right? It's the time when we're supposed to spend time with family and we're supposed to be thankful. But this season is the highest rates of suicide.
Wow.
Because people are lonely. People are completely toxic. We're not connected properly, right? We're not connected to our source. Our pineal gland is calcified. Our primary antenna is not receiving the signals of love and of light and everything that we're supposed to receive. We're getting all of these negative frequencies, the heavy metals, the graphene, all the stuff that's been in us since conception. These negative antennas are receiving these negative frequencies. They're holding on to the negative experiences, the trauma, the post-traumatic stress that these heavy metals will hold on to, that drag us down. This is all intentional, right?
Yeah.
Once we can let go of
I've got 2 minutes and I've got to be on another call. So this
you
is
get that,
so important, but I think it's so important. People, as you say, you guys have got Thanksgiving coming up. It's going to put more stress on a lot of people's bodies, isn't it? And minds.
And the more that you can unlock, and and I'll tell you, one of the secrets, if you're watching this and you're like, man, I got to go see my family at Thanksgiving time and they don't think the way I think, my family's crazy. And you go, yeah, that's a lot of my family, right? You go, man, my family's nuts. You go, great. Here's the secret. Take your 0 in with you before you get there. Pop a couple, 2, 3 0 in before you go see your family. I'll tell you, it'll be the best Thanksgiving you've ever had in your freaking life. You go, man, I love everybody right now. They're like, what's going on with you? It's like, no, I feel good. Like, what are you on? I'm like, I took a few capsules of greatness to make you guys tolerable. You go, I want some of those. He's like, and this is the key thing. You want to make, the holidays great. Give all your family a couple pills. You're like, okay, Uncle Steve is freaking nuts. You go, hey, Uncle Steve, pop a couple of these. They go, what is it? Doesn't matter. Just take them. You're going to do it for me. It's like, I want to be able to deal with you. So I want you to try a couple of these. And after about 10 minutes, Uncle Steve's going, holy shit, I feel good. I'm like, exactly. Now we're good. So we didn't get to talk about
challenge.
vanity.
There's so much. We'll talk about vanity next time. That that people have got enough strain with their family thinking on completely different wavelengths ever. So anything you can do to release that building, and also happiness shines from within. And if you're in a place where you're really balanced and you haven't got these toxins in you, you just don't react in the negative ways, do you?
No, and that's the beautiful part is, you talk about water off a duck's back. We're not born with a backpack. We're not made to carry that stuff with us. If you remove what will hold on to all of that negative stuff, which are the heavy metals, if you remove all that stuff, it just washes off of you. It's like, yeah, okay, that happened. I'm done with it. I'm just not gonna bother.
I mean, I know how busy you are, how incredibly busy you are, and I've never seen your energy levels drop, whether it's morning, noon, or night, and you're just constantly got that vibrancy. Thank you so much for your time today. It is always so great to connect, because you're providing solutions in lots of different ways to people, and then we're really grateful for that. And the combination of yours and Dr. Christina's knowledge is just off the scale. And I put the RootBrands YouTube channel link below all this as well, so everyone's going to have all the links they need, because you've got some great information on there now as well.
So thanks for letting me hang out.
It's just brilliant. Thank you so much.
We'll talk vanity and skincare on the next one, because
we'll definitely talk vanity and skincare. Yeah, we need that, and that will be just in time for people to talk about for the holiday season. Thanks so much, Clayton. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Have an amazing day.